Hey AfterBuzzers, we're about to talk about episode 19 of New Girl, Socalyalcon, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
If that song doesn't make you happy, I'm not really sure what would. Well, guys, we're here to talk about the episode Socalyalcon. I still don't know how to say it. As many times as they've tried to pronounce it in an episode, I just couldn't do it. I'm your host, Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at AllieGirl. And Tessa, Cevaal, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cevaal.
And make sure to follow us at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Facebook, on YouTube. We have podcasts on iTunes, just everywhere on all social media platforms. But to dive into this episode, I just want to say there was a lot of Nick and Jess, and I loved everything about it. Obviously, you know we are Nick and Jess.
You guys, this is the build that we've been waiting for the past, 10 weeks.
Like, literally, I don't even know how I cannot just, jump into them. I want to hold them to the end.
Why?
So I think we should. I know. I think we should, because we should talk a little bit about Cece and Schmidt and a little bit about Winston Alley, and then we will get to the big pit of the Nick and Jess love triangle in a second. Okay, so Cece and Schmidt. I always do that. Schmidt, Cece, Schmidt. Maybe we didn't need couple name them. I feel like they need a couple name.
Yeah, why have we never done that?
I don't know.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to think about that one for the next episode. But they moved into their house.
Finally!
Yeah.
You guys, but it was so sad. Wasn't it such a bittersweet moment for you?
Kind of, but tell me this.
Okay.
Was it actually shocking to see the way they actually intertwined it into the episode? I was shocked.
What do you mean?
I was thinking, I didn't realize, I thought it was going to be more awkward. I thought it was a little bit more smooth because they kept bringing them back. In my head, in my head I thought, oh, if they move in, that'll be it. They won't bring them into the storyline that much, but they really did a great job of incorporating them in almost every scene.
That is true. And you know what I thought would happen, which didn't happen, is they tend to have so many, I don't know what the right word is, ceremony party type of things. They celebrate all these big events.
Yeah.
They always have these little gatherings for all the things that they do. So I was expecting, this is a huge one. Cece and Schmidt have moved out. You would think there would have been this
this
type
big
of celebration
soiree
or whatever.
You're
and
right.
It just was wait, what? They're sleeping in the house.
That is a great point, because I didn't even realize that they didn't even talk about it. It's just oh, they're moved in, and it was just a thing.
It was so quick all of a sudden, which is weird because it's been such a build this whole season, and then all of a sudden they're just in the house, and I was like, what?
That is so true. I don't know how I missed that. They just totally skipped right over the excitement of them really redoing this house that was let's not forget, it was a crime scene when they got it, and now it's this beautiful, amazing, and by the way, the outside was just really cute.
I know.
It was great. But yeah, I'm actually, now that you say that and you put it into perspective for me, I'm shocked that they didn't make it a bigger deal than it was. And it was kind of a running joke how no matter what they locked and what windows they locked, everybody could get in. And I thought it was great too that Jess, they can't escape their friends from the loft. And she even was hey, borrowing this hat, bye. It was great. But just kind of the locks thing, I thought that was a funny plot line for them, because
it was awesome. It was such a good way too to intertwine the rest of the cast being involved and them breaking in, and it was just really funny, and it was really cool to see kind of the reverse location in this whole episode.
Definitely. And it's funny to see Cece and Schmidt really just by themselves, because we haven't seen that in a while.
I loved that about this episode.
Yeah, and we've been asking for that. We've been wanting to see them alone time be a couple, and they had some great moments, especially when Jeremy gave them the statistics book, and they started reading and freaking out, and that's what
14 home break-ins this year.
No, that literally out of their couple moments, I think there was about 5 Schmidt quotes. Every time he spoke, basically, I just was that's one, that's another. Maybe we can actually say some Schmidt quotes earlier on, since we're talking about them this episode.
Not?
Let's do it. What was yours?
Mine was when Nick and Jess broke in, and he was like, I almost hit you with this brushed steel modern lamp. And I was like, who says that?
Only Schmidt.
We say this every time.
Yeah. I had two, because there was one when he was talking with Cece. He's like, so someone's hitting at our house, and she was like knocking on the door, and like they were just talking about the back door. And then my second was, I forget what this was, but it was like towards the end. He's like, I saw a wizard once making, and he, I can't even say this. I can't even say it. I don't even know if it's appropriate.
You got it, Allie.
He said, I saw a wizard once making diarrhea on Johnny Carson. It was kind of vulgar, but I thought it was funny. And I don't really know like where those came from, like a wizard and Johnny Carson and like poop, but like I don't know. Only Schmidt.
Well, then there's the whole dyke analogy with the finger, which I remember as a child. Have you ever heard that whole thing? Really?
No.
I don't know how I know this then, but I just know there's like that whole expression, for lack of a better word, that the Dutch boy put his finger in the hole. And I was like dying because I forgot about that whole story, because as a child you don't understand how now it sounds really inappropriate.
Yeah.
When, especially as they took it out of context and the way that they did, or how Jess just awkwardly repeated the whole thing. But
leave it up to them.
Dying.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of moments this episode that made Schmidt shine like his normal self. I felt like we needed the douchebag jar back into this episode because it was that good.
It was.
And then even just like having them at the end of the, like they finally get all 26 entry points locked and they lock themselves out. It was too much.
Did not surprise me. I felt like I saw that one coming, because I knew immediately Schmidt would like go into hyper protective mode of the house, and I knew he would implement this like insane security system. And then I was like, he's probably gonna lock himself out of it too.
He was like, don't worry. I mean,
my beautiful
just
Cece.
One second.
My beautiful Cece.
So good, so good. But moving on to other great and fun-loving relationships, we've got Winston and Allie, who break a dresser.
They're so cute. I fall in love with them again and again and again.
Same. And I just like can't help but smile when they talk to each other because they're so adorable. And I loved how this episode they were talking about secrets, and Allie had this like huge secret, and she got so defensive when Winston wanted to come to storage with her. And it turns out her secret is that she owns like items from a Japanese game show. And that's where she had all those things from, which like is so random and amazing. And it just like added to their relationship. I literally wrote down like, I want to be friends with them.
I know. They're so cool.
They're so cool. Like everybody in the loft. I just want to be friends with all of them. And I'll like honestly too, when they were like having so much fun, they lost track of time. They said, "Oh my gosh, we have to be at the station in less than 15 minutes." I was like, "And LA, good luck."
I know, right?
Like, I don't know if you're gonna be getting there in time. But they're okay with Winston and Allie. You know, we've like seen them get engaged and everything. You know, where do you see this taking that? Like, do you think they're going to get engaged, married by the end of the season? Or, like, where do you think that's going to take us? Because I feel like right now we're seeing such a fun-loving moment. But I'm like, I feel like we need more engagement stuff. Because with Cece and Schmidt, we had, like, the planning of it. Like, do you think with their relationship we'll see them plan much? Or will it be just, like, a jump to them getting married?
I actually was thinking about this a lot.
Yeah.
After the episode too, because I was like, wait a minute, we keep predicting kind of the finale being their wedding, and it's so soon now that it would feel really rushed if they were going to go into an elaborate planning stage,
right? Because
it doesn't make sense to me now at this point in the season. And I think they also reminded me how, I don't know if childish is the best word, but they're so like carefree and just silly. I mean, the fact that those are their deep, dark secrets, that like they have game show prizes, and like I wrote them down, some of Winston's, like, I sold knives in high school, and like I fell asleep in a bathtub. I'm
like that story just keeps coming back.
Deep, dark secret. Like,
they're just so... Yeah.
like, innocent to me.
They are. I'm like, Winston, you're making people look bad because your deep, dark secrets are like people's like funny moments that they share with everybody in the world. But yeah, they're just such a fun couple. And I felt like this episode, they were trying so hard to be like adults. Like they were trying to be serious adults, but that's just not who they are.
It's not natural for them.
No. And I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see any more planning. I just kind of like the whole Robbie thing, as much as I love them, I think I'm just so enthralled into their relationship. I just keep forgetting that they're engaged, like that the engagement happened.
Yeah.
Because my brain kind of is like, oh, but there was a 20-step process. But I'm like, no, they ex-nate that. So I'm kind of just like reminding myself because it just all happened so fast.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
But yeah, I mean, I guess speaking of things that went fast, it was this Nick and Jess realization, except not so fast because it took her a while to figure it out. But yeah, so, you know, we see them have this like kind of intimate moment when they're drunk and they're just kind of hanging out with each other, having fun, like doing, I don't know, just what was it, pranks? Like they were trying to steal Schmidt's blazer. So when Cece said that to Jess, what was your initial reaction when they like had this huge realization?
Well, I feel like my big realization was like 20 seconds before when I was like, what? They're breaking into a house together? Like that was my like, wait a minute, this is like really getting serious. Like everything that is built up to this. And like exactly what Cece said, you're his girlfriend, dude. Like, this is not like a friend thing anymore.
No. And I was so glad that she brought it up because we've even talked about it before. Like, Jess is the emotional backbone in Nick and Reagan's relationship. Every time they have an issue, she's there to fix it and to like sit like, what is it called?
Yeah, when they did that montage of Jess being like, you should do this, I was like, oh.
Yeah, you start realizing.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm the reason they're still together. Which is so true. They would not be together if it wasn't for Jess because she would have never came for Christmas and like she would have never continued to support Nick the way that Jess does because she kind of has Jess as like an example, you know, like she leads by example. So she's like, oh, I'll do what Jess does. It's easy. Which it's just, I mean, even what's crazy about her being Nick's like girlfriend is that she just like finishes his sentences. I'm realizing too that before when they broke up, they weren't good together. They couldn't be in a relationship. But now it's like when they didn't even try, they were in a relationship. So what does that even mean?
What does that mean? What do you guys think? I know. It's like finally everything we've been talking about finally came to a head in a lot of ways with this whole situation. And I really, really see Nick kind of continuing because he did have that moment of realization, but to further that and be like, yeah, Reagan's probably not the one for me. Actually, Jess is. Like, look at the past couple months that I've had or weeks that I've had with her because she like fills that other part that needs to be filled.
And like I completely agree because Nick needs to be in a way taken care of. He's definitely matured so much this season and I'm super proud for Nick because he's done things for Jess out of like him, like the goodness of his heart, really wanting to make sure that she was happy. He's done that multiple times this season. And that's something we've never seen from his character before. So his development is like crazy. And the fact that Jess is like single, it just would be the perfect moment. But it's still that realization that Reagan is there and she's not really going away. And tell me how you feel about this. I feel like every time Nick, you know, thinks that Jess was the reason he's done something or knows that she's been the one supporting him along the way, and then he turns to Reagan just like he did to ask, you know, when Jess finished his sentence about the book. He looked to Reagan and he realized what, like, Jess would say, but he still didn't let that bother him with Reagan. Does that make sense? Did I talk in circles? Maybe a little.
No,
like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, so is he going to realize, like, I feel like he always pushes those feelings away. Like, as soon as he kind of looks at Reagan, like, are you the one good for me? And then he just forgets it, and he's like, oh, yeah, sure, let's date. Like, let's continue this. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I guess what really gets to me is that Reagan, she said it in this episode, I'm not a jealous person, but it's just a little weird to me.
Well, yeah, it's basically like, it's like a virtual boyfriend. She's like, you're my boyfriend, but yet I am not going to do any of these boyfriend things for you. Jess is going to do them, but yet they're still dating. It just weirds me out. I'm just kind of figuring, like, when is Nick going to realize that's what's happening? It's like he did realize that this episode after Jess brought it to his attention, but I'm wondering in what realization he's going to realize that Reagan's not the one for him. Mm-hmm. Because even when Jess said that to him, he wasn't like, whoa, Reagan isn't the one. He was just like, oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, he kind of just pushes it back off.
Yeah, so it's just like...
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's just weird. Like, and when Reagan told Jess that she doesn't have girlfriends, I also kind of, like, raised a red flag with that because I was like, okay, like, I get it. You're, like, a guy's girl. But at the same time, to not have, like, a single girlfriend in your, 25, 30 years of life is a little weird.
Well, yeah, and, like,
it makes me wonder, like, what's going on now when she's gone. Because she doesn't seem very dedicated. No. And I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe something else is happening.
So maybe it was what I predicted a couple episodes, though, that she's cheating on Nick.
I think she is. And that was going to be my new prediction this season. No. Because it's just weird. It's weird to me if your boyfriend has another girl in his life who's doing the girlfriend things for you, so you don't have to do them.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Like, seriously, just going back to that montage, it's like, what? Like, Jess has done so much that you haven't even realized, so I can't even imagine, like...
Yeah, what did she say? She said it so perfectly. She said, oh my gosh, I wrote it down. She said, am I the architect of my own nightmare? I was like, you are, Jess, you are.
That was such a great line. I'm so glad you wrote that down because it was kind of like, yeah, you are literally architecting this nightmare for yourself because had she never gone up to Nick at the wedding, at Cece's wedding, they might be together. I don't know.
Jess, what were you thinking?
But I mean, I've always felt that, like, as soon as she went up to, like, Reagan at the wedding, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like, no.
Well, and here, going back to kind of what we were just talking about with the whole Palm Springs trip.
Yeah.
Please tell me that was kind of weird. They rewarded her by hanging out with her. Like, being like, oh, you get to come, like, as a reward for, like, being part of this weird love triangle that we have. Like, come continue to be in the love triangle, and we'll go to Palm Springs and, like, kind of share a room. It was like the peekaboo suite or whatever. I'm like,
but like, that's terrible.
That's just like encouraging this to continue to go on.
Well, and the fact that it is. It's like it's continuing it to be like, it's like they're like secretly screaming help, you know,
right?
Like both of them are secretly like, help me, don't leave me alone with this person.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what they're secretly screaming, but they don't want to admit it to each other. And I just, but like, I just lost my train of thought with what I was going to say about Nick. I know, it was so good.
Was that the book signing?
It was something with Nick and Jess, and it'll come back to me. But yeah, I just think he freaks out when he doesn't, like, he's just, like, needs that attention from Jess, too. So I don't know. I just don't think.
Yeah, like, he called her right away, and she ignored the call.
I was so proud of her.
I was like, yes, Jess, you go, girl. Stand up for yourself. Like, don't let Nick continue to kind of drag you along in a way.
Oh, I remembered. It was because Nick, okay, so you had mentioned that you feel like Nick kind of realizes, right? Like, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, you thought that he kind of thinks that maybe she does have feelings for him?
Yes.
So if that's the case, I've been waiting for him to kind of be like, Jess, I understand you have feelings for me. But he hasn't yet. And it's been kind of this, like, long string. Like, it's been a couple episodes that we've seen Nick and Jess really build their friendship, which I think that's leading us to something exciting, but whatever. In the now. I'm living in the now, not in the future. But I feel like that's Nick saying, like, he doesn't know. I don't think he genuinely knows, like, what's right in front of his face. And that literally Jess is screaming, I love you. And he's just like...
And I think we've talked about this before because I struggle with this too because Nick is such a complex person that part of me is like, maybe he really doesn't understand. But also, there have been those signs, like the whole Secret Santa situation, where he was like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on. It's like, but do you? Because you act so oblivious.
Yeah, and he is. He's just so oblivious to everything. And I mean, that's the charm of Nick's character, don't get me wrong. But it is sometimes frustrating because in situations like this, I was just like, well, why are you chasing after her? But, like, obviously he had no idea where she went because she ignored his call. But it was really exciting to see Jess finally stand up for herself and be like, you know what? No, like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to continue to, like, baby this relationship. You guys need to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think Nick is going to realize what is missing when Jess goes on this, like, you know, vacation, whatever it may be,
to visit her dad, trip. Yeah.
But so in terms of like the like new girl and stuff, do you think this like trip would be like 1 or 2 days? Like, do you think it'll be like a week?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it. I think it won't be long because I think Jess doesn't do well out of her routine.
Yeah, you're right.
She kind of has her things that she always does.
Yeah.
So I think when she's thrown out of it, it like tends to almost confuse her or fluster her more.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how this time away goes.
Because I'm wondering if like she's gonna be like super like upset Jess when she, you know, when she like starts like making things because she gets super upset. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if it's gonna be that. But I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes because at this point, I'm just kind of like, Nick is clueless. He doesn't understand what's happening. He needs to break it off with Reagan because clearly their thing is like, meh, it's been done. We thought for a couple episodes there was a thing. It's over. It's done. The ship has sailed. Like, he's like basically single at this point, I feel. But speaking about like relationships and Jess, you found some news on the internet, right? Regarding the season finale.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
Yeah.
So I was reading a couple articles today, and Travelers Today was talking about an interview with Jake Johnson, and he kind of referred to some things in the season finale. He said that they shot the finale where if the end, end quote, the core fan base would be okay, quote. So he's basically saying that like the way the season's gonna end, no matter if there's gonna be a 7th season or not,
hashtag renew girl,
he thinks that all the fans are gonna be happy with the way that the season ends.
Bittersweet feelings on that.
So what do we think about that? I think that means that Nick and Jess will finally end up being together. I think that's how a lot of the fans are feeling.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I think this whole season has really built that up.
I think you're right, and I think that this is going to be like a really strong 3 episodes, and I think maybe they'll have Jess go away, come back, and I think we're going to probably, I mean, have like huge confessions and stuff. And I think that things are gonna happen in the ways, I mean, that sounds promising. And he did mention in the news that we had talked about a couple weeks back, he said he does, like, he's like, I think that it was along the lines of he thinks that Jess and Nick would get back together.
He would be surprised if they didn't. That's what he said.
Yeah.
It was an E! News interview that he had done.
Yeah, and I think that's true because, I mean, I think we'd all be surprised because at this point it's kind of dangling. It's carrot dangling for us, and we're just waiting for it to happen.
Because I don't see any progression with Reagan and Nick. I see digression.
Yeah, and it's kind of at this point like her character has kind of hit its plateau, and you're kind of like, where does she go now?
Yeah.
Because she kind of already like accepted Jess as her friend. They're besties. Like, well, she thinks they're besties. Meanwhile, Jess loves Nick. But you know, so you're kind of in this awkward. You want to like Reagan, but you kind of are like,
she's not bringing much to the table anymore.
You're not bringing, like, it's just kind of awkward. So I think that in the next couple episodes we might like see that like go away. But I mean, I think her character though is funny because it kind of adds that like stale humor.
Yeah.
You know?
Because she's kind of the outsider, so it kind of reminds us how like quirky the whole lofties, as you call them, are sometimes because Reagan's so not like that.
Yeah.
That it's always that good contrast between the two.
Definitely.
Like groups, essentially.
Yeah, because poor Robbie, he just like added to the craziness. He was just,
Robbie was
Robbie.
I loved him though.
We did.
miss him.
Except we kept forgetting about him. Well,
Oh, wow.
I really, after speaking about this whole Reagan thing and about that news that Jake Johnson said, I'm ready to get in some predictions.
Yes,
I'm ready to call
do
them.
it.
Let's do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Predictions. Alrighty, Tessa, what are your predictions?
Okay. I keep giving the same ones, but I still feel them, so
Okay.
I'm going to repeat
Go
them.
for
But
it.
my new one is, because I'm copying you,
Okay.
I think we're going to find out that Reagan has cheated on Nick.
All right.
And it's going to end them, and that's when Jess and Nick will be together,
Mhm.
which we keep predicting, and I
Yes.
still foresee that happening.
Right.
And going back to my favorite Cece prediction, I think she's going to have a bun in the oven soon.
I think that would be great. Still really loving that prediction. Is that it for you?
Yeah, because
Unless-
I don't have a new one for Allie and Winston.
Yeah.
Except that I think I may have predicted this already, but I think that they're gonna elope.
Yeah, I could see that happening because I could see their relationship and their quirkiness doesn't call for a massive wedding. I
No.
can see them having. I can see them having the cat as like the priest that marries them. You know, like the cat like
You're like, oh yeah, we got him like certified online.
he's like in this like cat suit. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cute. But yeah, I can see that happening. Cause you could totally see Allie Winston getting married with like the cat as the priest. Like,
Yes.
totally what would happen. I think for my predictions, obviously, I think Reagan may be. If you only have 3 episodes left of this season, I'm trying to put it into, which is crazy. I can't believe that. It's been such
Went
a
so
It's been such a great
fast.
season, guys. I mean, I'm like the humor. I feel like this season has just like picked up on another level.
It's so funny. The writing this season is so
It
good.
is. And it's not just like one character. Like it was kind of Schmidt, and then it was kind of Nick, and then Winston came into his own. I feel like each of the characters. Sorry, I'm jumping off of the boat of predictions for a second, but I feel like each of the characters have really grasped who they were, and like they each shine in different lights. You know.
Mm-hmm. I love that because they've done such a good job writing it equally.
Yeah,
for each person.
it definitely. In each episode, we see a jump of, okay, so now we're getting this Cece and Winston, we're getting Cece and Schmidt, and then we're getting Jess and Nick, or Nick and Winston. Like, they all kind of have
Or
circulated, which is
Cece and
great.
Winston. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's
The Cece and Winston mess around. But okay, so back to my predictions. I think that with this being the end of the season, we're going to see Reagan go away next episode. I think they're going to have some sort of thing where she's just, I think it might be super casual. I did predict that she would cheat, but at this point, I think she's just going to be casually like, you know what? It's not working, Nick. I don't want to bake for you. And then she's just going to like leave. And it'll be super calm, kind of like how she is. It won't be super dramatic. And he's just going to be like, did that just happen? And then that's when like Jess will swoop in and be like, I don't know how it's gonna play out, but I definitely think it'll be something where Jess will have like a realization, and it's just gonna be like honesty hour, and it's all the emotions will flow. Everything's gonna happen. Other than that, I feel like that's my one big prediction, and I agree with you. Maybe Cece will get a bun in the oven and Winston and Allie will elope. That would be really fun to watch. But I'm just excited. I just feel like even those small predictions, I can't even fathom what is going to happen in the next 3 episodes. I just can't even
I feel
imagine.
like big things are coming.
Big things are coming in just 3 episodes. It's going to be great. Please, guys, make sure that you send us your predictions on Twitter, tweet us, because we're so excited, and then we will talk about them next episode. Thank you so much for joining. We are so excited to kind of get into this next episode next week in the season finale. It's going to be sad. But anyways, I'm Allie Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Allie Nasta, and on Instagram at AllieGirl. And Tessa Cevaal, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cevaal.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.